Hi, my name is Josh Pike. I am the owner of Pike's Pine Isle Lodge in Three Lakes, Wisconsin. Also the president of the board of directors for the Three Lakes Area Chamber of Commerce. I'm going to give you a short economic history of Three Lakes, Wisconsin. Three Lakes by the numbers. Uh, the population of Oneida County is right around 35,000, and Three Lakes has about just under 2,000 permanent residents. However, in the summertime, our town swells to more than 10,000 residents. The median age here is 60, which is up almost 8 years from 2010, and households with children under 18 is less than 10%. The median household income of our residents is just over $50,000, with just short of 10% of our permanent residents below the poverty line. Um, we have 511 kids currently enrolled in our school. That is broken up by two different elementary schools and our Three Lakes High School and Junior High School. Um, our population is definitely aging and becoming less active. And just as a reference point, the Oneida County population 100 years ago was just over 14,000, meaning we have maintained relative stability over the last 100 years in that regard. The history of Three Lakes and Oneida County. Oneida County was formed in 1885 when it broke off from Lincoln County to its south. At that time, it was all of Oneida County, Vilas County, and parts of Iron County. Vilas and Iron County later broke off to form their own county governments. It was named for the Oneida Indian tribe that was resettled to this area after they were removed from upstate New York. The first known settler to the area was High Polar, who was commissioned by the U.S. Postal Service to carry mail from Green Bay to Ontonagon, Michigan. In 1852, he married a Native American woman named Virgin, and they built a trading post on the shores of what is now Virgin Lake. And they settled out east of what is now downtown Three Lakes because the government built what was going to be a military supply road um, during the Civil War to help fight off British troops coming down from Canada, should that ever happen. That is our current location of a current military road, and kind of marks the eastern boundary of the Three Lakes area. As of 1881, the Chicago and Northwestern Railway line finished construction, and that's when the town of Three Lakes was actually formed. And following that line completion, the town of Three Lakes went through three distinct phases of development: logging, farming, and tourism. Starting with logging, in the town's early days, pre-1900, there were actually very few settlers. What there were was a lot of men that moved with the logging camps to support their families that lived elsewhere. The forests were cleared, the railway lines were put in, and logging companies had to move further away from the lines, which cut into profit margins. And the camps moved around quite a bit, but that actually allowed the homestead farmer to move into the area. As the forest was cleared, there was a lot of issues with erosion, forest fire. There's pretty sandy soil here, and so the main crops that they were able to get to grow were potatoes, later cranberries. But it did provide enough of a base here to actually start bringing some homesteaders in, and the area was actually heavily promoted further south down in Milwaukee, Chicago, to try to bring new settlers to the area. Uh, Once the land was cleared and everyone realized how beautiful the lakes and the area was around here, tourism and hospitality really became the driving force of the Three Lakes economy. Um, Many of the cleared lands uh, were bought up and turned into small family resorts. And at certain times, you couldn't. Most of the shoreline was actually resorts and not private residences. Here's a few examples on the screen of all the different resorts that were available at one point um, in Three Lakes. The railroads actually pivoted from hauling cargo and logs to hauling sportsmen and families up to these new resorts, and the town actually built up around these visitors and all of the people that needed to be here to support the thriving hospitality business. Following um, the land clearance and the original settlement of Three Lakes was really the golden era of tourism in Three Lakes. The seasonal mom and pop resorts continued to thrive, but what we saw was a increase in event type tourism as the Showboat and the Northern Air were built. The Oneida Village Inn was built, and what you really had was more of a much closer to a year-round tourism season. People still came for the lakes and all the nature, but they were able to parlay those visitors into customers and for national touring entertainment acts, as well as local favorites such as Skip Wagner. Over time, many of the private small resorts were sold off as lots for vacation homes. The real estate became more valuable than the businesses themselves. The Northern Air was eventually redeveloped as a condo building, and unfortunately, the Oneida Village burned down. As the real estate market in Three Lakes changed, the weekly vacationers have been replaced by retirees, snowbirds, and second homeowners. Currently, of the over 3,000 housing units in the town of Three Lakes, only 28% are occupied year-round. As a comparison, nearby Minocqua, which is also definitely a vacation destination, has nearly 50% of their housing units occupied year-round. And we seem to be experiencing a difference in what those weekly vacationers are looking for versus what the year-round semi-residents are looking for. The new property owners are looking to stock up their cabins and spend as much time as possible out in nature, out on the lakes. Whereas the weekly visitors are a much more experiential-based group, and they're looking for interesting storefronts, they're looking for attractions, they're looking for things to do. This has unfortunately caused a drop-off in different industries and businesses that support that weekly visitor. Additionally, the real estate boom has led to a significant increase in lakeside property values, which has therefore led to a lack of affordable housing in the area, especially for off-water housing. As of 2018, there were only 127 year-round rental units in the Three Lakes area, and over half of them had monthly rates of more than 35% of household income for the residents. So it's becoming very difficult for people who want to actually move to Three Lakes and live and work here long term to support themselves with the expensive housing that we have in the area. There are additional economic drivers that are not tourism and hospitality based, but they face many of the same issues that our hospitality based businesses face. There are builders, agricultural, manufacturing, publishing, but many of these businesses also have problems finding long-term employees, and either expansion needs to be put on hold or they're constantly looking to fill out their workforce. So it's becoming a kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy where there are a lot of jobs available, but we can't find local talent to fill those jobs, and therefore the expansion of these businesses tend to go elsewhere. In that regard, the current chamber initiatives are to help reach out to these businesses that are not necessarily tourism and hospitality based. Our budget and directive is definitely primarily based around the bringing more visitors to town and exposing Three Lakes to more potential visitors. However, a thriving local economy is needed both for the benefit of our citizens, but also to bring a different type of tourist to the area, one that is looking for more experiences outside of just the nature that we have to offer. With that in mind, we have picked three main points to emphasize for 2021 and beyond. One is to continue supporting the events that get the citizens of Three Lakes and the surrounding areas and the visitors that come here every year excited. Try to extend that vacation season for as long as possible for our hospitality-based business. But two is to become the best job resource for both employers and employees in the area, to help connect people, to make sure that anybody looking for a job can find a great one, and any employers looking for some great new employees can can get full access to the people that are here or the people that are looking to move here. And the third is to help our property owners get the most out of their homes in a couple of different ways. One, promoting work access, remote work access, and two, promoting the short-term rental market. Our goal is to take that 28% number as far as occupied housing units and try to bring that up to keep more people here for a longer percentage of the year. So what do we need to do? Well, we need to get community stakeholders, including government, nonprofit, and for-profit enterprises, to work together to build a cohesive vision for what we're trying to do. Infrastructure-wise, we definitely need improved internet access and cell phone coverage in the area to make remote work possible. We need to make our downtown functional as well as inviting to make it more appealing to those experiential tourists. And we're trying to build a more robust workforce here, so we need to, and we're trying to build a more robust workforce here, so we definitely need to improve access to affordable housing for people that want to come here and begin their lives or live their lives and not just vacation here. There is nothing but potential for Three Lakes, but we need everybody on board and we need a new plan in order to get there.